It has been about 5 days since I last talked about a anime or manhwa, and today we are back at it. Over the past 5 days, I have slowly read a manhwa called I Grow Stronger by Eating, or I Get Stronger the More I Eat. I personally think the first name rolls off the tongue a bit more, but anyway, reading this manhwa was a bit of a unique experience for me, because usually when I'm choosing a manhwa to read, I usually choose ones that aren't actually 100% completed. I choose to read ones that are still coming out weekly so I can come back to it and reread it later, because I think there's some kind of magic in rereading things and I find it really enjoyable. But this one is completely different. This one is actually 100% completed from start to finish. It is completely done if you want to read it. It's a bit on the shorter side with only 100 chapters, but honestly, it's still pretty good. I did enjoy most of my time reading it. Now, comparatively to other manhwas, this one isn't rated super high, and I do have my fair share of complaints, but I also do have a fair share of things that I did enjoy about it. I'll start by sharing my thoughts on the main character, and me personally, I think that for most of this manhwa, the main character's story and background was pretty shallow, to be honest. Actually, before that, I should get into the premise of what this manhwa is about. Basically, anything he eats, he gets the ability of. So if he eats like a hippo or something, he can then have the head of a hippo, or like if he eats like a lion, he can use the hand or claw of a lion. Hence the name, I Get Stronger the More I Eat. And of course, that ability extends to almost all animals and stuff like that, so it's pretty unique, but it does kind of feel like they use that ability to be a little bit lazy, because since the main character has to eat everything, he kind of lost his humanity, so he doesn't care about anything or anyone, and so he doesn't really have any reactions to almost anything. So he's kind of void of emotions and focuses fully on his goal and what he's trying to do. And that would be fine if his goal was something deep and interesting and had a lot of story to it, but it's not. It is one of the most bland goals I've probably ever seen. Though I have never seen a goal like it, it's very, very basic, and the story behind why he has that goal is also non-existent. It's pretty bland. But even with the main character's personality being like this, it was kind of fire. They did it pretty well, to be honest. But I do think that quite a few people might have dropped this manhwa because the start is probably the worst part, and in my opinion, it gets progressively better as it goes on all the way up to the end. So in the start, the first 15 chapters maybe, you're just world building, learning stuff about the main character and what's pretty much to come in the story. And it's kind of meh, and the art style is just okay. But after you're done with that, you kind of get to meet more characters that don't stay for long, if you know what I mean. But when other people start getting introduced to the story, I think that's when it gets a little bit more entertaining. It gets a bit more cool. But still, it doesn't hit very hard, and there's nothing really crazy going on until maybe chapter 55. I think that was a big turning point in my eyes in terms of quality and enjoyability. And that's already a little bit over half of the manhwa, so I feel some people might have dropped it by that point. But don't get me wrong, it's not the first 55 chapters are bad by any means. It's just nothing too crazy is going on. But at chapter 55 and up, it gets crazy. So many cool characters are introduced, whether they're staying long in the story or not. I'll leave that for you guys to find out. But there's some super cool looking characters, and some characters actually get some depth. And we do actually get some more information on the main character and why he's kind of lost his humanity and doesn't really have many feelings. The story definitely got a bit better in the later chapters. And along with some really cool characters, some of them also being creepy or grotesque, but still super unique and cool. But anyway, along with them, the art also got a lot better. In my opinion, it was night and day, to be honest. But that was also only in the fight scenes. That also could have been just because there was also legitimate fight scenes from chapter 55 and onwards. Because prior to that, it was basically the main character being stronger than everyone and everything and just dominating them almost immediately. But after chapter 55, some crazy fights go on, and it was super sick against some very, very cool enemies that I liked a lot. And I was kind of trudging through the first little bit, but after it got to the point where the main character actually had enemies and there was depth behind all these characters and stuff like that, it was super binge worthy. I was very excited to keep reading every chapter. And even though the main character didn't show any big outbursts of emotion like anger, sadness, happiness, or anything like that, his abilities were still super entertaining and very fun to watch. And it was cool because all the other characters aside from him did have personalities usually as well, and they all had their own goals as well, so it would be swapping through characters sometimes, showing off what is going on at other points in the world, at other people's locations. Very cool stuff. I did enjoy that. And overall, I think it was pretty good, even though it did have a fair share of flaws, and a lot of it was pretty slow. I can say that I did enjoy my time reading it, though nearing the end it did feel like they maybe were on a time crunch, because they'd be fighting this group of people, and then instead of showing the fight, they would just be we fought them, we won quite a bit, and this is where we are now, and not show any of the fighting until the biggest battle, of course, which we did get to see, which honestly it was fine because we did get to see the coolest parts, so I'm okay if they skipped a little bit. But yeah, overall, it wasn't a bad watch. You can definitely find a lot of more manhwas that are probably better than this, but If you got nothing going on and want to like waste some time, I would definitely recommend checking this one out, especially if you like characters that don't really show much emotions and only care about their own goals. This is definitely the one for you. But yeah, I would probably rate this manhwa like a 7.5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy, but it was pretty enjoyable, so I did like it. But yeah, I think that about covers everything I wanted to talk about. That's about it. See ya.